David would have truly destroyed Dr. Zakken with his response.
Muslims cheer when Zakken quotes the book of John, chapter 5, verse 30.
Gospel of John, chapter number 5, verse number 30. I can of my own self do nothing.
Nike doesn't bother to give the context of the verse, but he offers it as a proof text against the deity of Christ and the doctrine of the Trinity. Obviously, if you're reading the verse as Zakken reads it, Jesus sounds like he's saying that he doesn't have the power to do anything.
I can of my own self do nothing.
So, according to Zakken, Jesus' words in the book of John, chapter 5, verse 30, prove that he's just a man, a helpless human being, certainly not God. You can learn a lot about a man by considering how he reads the Bible. What can we learn about world-famous Muslim apologist Zakken from his treatment of John 5:30? Let's find out by doing something that people like Zakken don't want their listeners to do ever. We're going to read the passage. I'll just summarize the first 15 verses of the chapter. Jesus heals a man on the Sabbath, and this upsets the Jewish leaders. They regard miraculously healing someone as work, and you're not allowed to work on the Sabbath. We'll pick up the story in verse 16 of the chapter Zakken quotes to show that Jesus is just a helpless human being. And this was why the Jews were persecuting Jesus, because he was doing these things on the Sabbath. But Jesus answered them, "My Father is working until now, and I am working." Uh-oh. You see, Jews weren't allowed to work on the Sabbath, but there was a discussion among the Jewish rabbis. They reasoned that since God sustains the universe even on the Sabbath, God works on the Sabbath. Jews don't get to work on the Sabbath, but God works on the Sabbath. How does Jesus answer the Jewish leaders when they complain that he's working on the Sabbath? He says, "My Father is working until now, and I am working." Like Father, like Son. Now, what does he sound like he's saying here? If Jesus says, "Yeah, I know human beings aren't supposed to work on the Sabbath, but God the Father is working on the Sabbath, so I'm working on the Sabbath too, because I'm the Son," what does he sound like he's claiming? He sounds like he's claiming to be in the same category with God. And as the next verse shows, that's exactly what the Jewish leaders thought he was saying. Look at the heading, by the way. Verse 18. This was why the Jews were seeking all the more.
This is why the Jews were seeking all the more to destroy him, for he had not only broken the Sabbath law, but said that God was his own Father, making himself equal with God. The will of God is for us to understand his word, accept Jesus Christ, and be saved. Please, do not be rigid, do not be stubborn, and I pray, may the Lord grant you all the spirit of understanding.